Morning guys. I've had a bit of a traumatic start to today's long run, so I haven't started filming until a few kilometres in. My head's kind of spinning, my feelings of guilt after an encounter I had with a lady before I started the run. So put a bit of a dampener on things, and the route hasn't quite gone to plan because of that, so I'll plough on. Ooh. Crikey. So I'm back on the old muddy rooty path. Got tree trunks lying across it now as well, and this heads up to the Curly Bridge, as you may have seen before. I'm out on a 16k or 10-mile long run as part of week 9 of my ultramarathon training, using a plan by Krissy Moehl in her book Running Your First Ultra. But I'm not on the route I planned. I am still on the Spire Ultra route now. I had to take a bit of a detour to get here so I can train on the correct terrain and practice the route. I'm supposed to be running this at a harder than easy rate. The book says either find someone to run with if you can, or take some music with you to give you a boost and keep you going a little bit faster. Though walking up this hill and talking is enough hard work for now. But yeah, I'll explain what went on before the start of the run. So when I was planning this long run, I was trying to find somewhere that carried on from roughly where my last Spire route long run finished, so I could carry on from there. I couldn't find anywhere to park. The only place I did come up with was an old abandoned pub, and they had a car park around the back and a lane that led to, after about a mile, the Spire route. So I thought I'd park there, or at least try to. But when I got there, pulled into the car park, there was one car in the middle of the car park. Couldn't tell if they were just, leaving their car to go for a walk or something else. But as I was about to pull into a space, I think the lady mouthed to me, "What are you doing?" So that wasn't a good sign. So after I stopped the car, she walked over to me, and I opened the door to speak to her, and I explained that I was just trying to find somewhere to park the car while I go for a run. I was telling her the truth, and she said, "Yes, but not here, it's my home." And she had a red face. Couldn't tell if she was going to cry or punch me, but I could clearly tell she was upset. So I felt really bad at that point. Yeah, nobody likes someone else parking on their property by the home. I've been there myself. So I apologised and left the area. Went to try and find somewhere else to park. So I had to park nowhere near the planned route and just find my way to the ultra route from there, which I have done. But yeah, for the first 15-20 minutes, just I was replaying the conversation and those events in my head and feeling bad about it. So hopefully the lady wasn't too distressed by the encounter, but I must admit she did look it. I don't know if people regularly park on her property, with it being an old pub with a car park behind it, and couldn't see any signs on the way in to say you weren't meant to park there, so I won't make that mistake again. Sorry lady if you're watching, which I'm sure you're not. But anyway, better get on with this run, and I'll catch you up on how the last 2 weeks of training have been. So made it across the Curly Bridge and the bypass. I'm sure you can still hear it. But week 7 was the deload week, or rest week, or cutback week, or whatever you want to call it. A bit easier than normal. And I'll put the runs up on the screen so you can see what the plan involves. Well, basically it was 3 or 4 5k runs, some strength training as usual, where you're told that you can push it a bit harder than most weeks because your running's only gentle during that week, and then a 10k for the weekend longer run. Again, it's an easy pace, so that didn't really lend itself to a interesting vlog, so I left that one out. So any points of note about the deload week is that I was definitely ready for it. The 3 weeks on the hills and strength section, ramping up to that deload week, were progressively harder and harder, as you'd expect. And by the last couple of runs I was running on legs that felt like they'd been through the ringer, so definitely needed it. The deload came just in time, and it was just the right amount of work for that week to get me feeling fresh and to start off week 9, which is the beginning of the speed section of the plan, feeling good and running fast. So the start of week 9, the first week of the speed section, was an 8k easy run on Monday, which nice and easy, as you'd expect. And then Tuesday I was due to do one of those sessions on the rubbish rowing machine I've got for 50 minutes, and I intended to at least get started on that throughout the day. I was thinking, yeah, I'll do it. I might not do 50 minutes, maybe I will, but if I get started I'll find out. But I didn't. I just couldn't face it. That rowing machine is just rubbish. Don't enjoy being on it at all, so I thought I'll use the old man excuse and say I'm just cutting out the less important parts of the training plan because I'm old. Just do the running and strength training and forget about the half a dozen rowing sessions that are thrown in there. So that's what I did. So on to Wednesday, and that was 8k steady with strength training afterwards. And on that steady run I was flying. I think I got 8 gold medals on the Strava for sections I'd done faster than ever before, and my legs just felt like going. The deload week had obviously done its job. Okay, so on to Thursday. Something that was going through my mind while I was on that steady run Wednesday night was, don't go too hard, you've got a speed session tomorrow. But Thursday was the speed session. It was a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So after a 15-minute warm-up, 1 minute at a 7 to 8 out of 10 effort, then a minute recovery, and then 2 minutes fast, 2 minutes recovery, and so on, all the way up to 5. And a 15-minute cool down at the end. And yeah, that went well. Hitting pace as I don't usually do on these runs, and feeling pretty good about it. I was wearing the old Hoka Torrent 2s, and they've now hit 800 kilometers, and they're still one of my favorite shoes to run in, so quite pleased with how long they're lasting, and I think it hopefully bodes well for these Speedgoat 5s that I'm wearing today. Hopefully they'll last me just as long. So, on to Friday, and that was 5k steady with strength training afterwards. And I was feeling a little bit tired after the previous 2 days' exertions, but it went okay. Legs felt good after the 5k. I went in the gym thinking if anything feels too much of a strain, so I might be risking injury, I'll just back off a bit, but all went fairly well. Did perhaps a few less reps on the final exercise compared to what I normally would have done, but otherwise all good. Saturday, when I usually film these videos on a long run, was a surprise rest day. It did say in the plan that if you wanted to swap Saturday and Sunday to suit your schedule, then you could do. But yeah, I was happy to rest yesterday, and now we're on to Sunday with the actual long run of the week, which is this 16k or 10 miler. It started traumatically, but seems to be finishing pretty well. I'm almost at the turnaround point. The battery just gave up on the GoPro for a second there, but it's come back on again. So yeah, when I get to 8k, I'm at 7.38 now. I'll turn around and try and find my way back to where I put the car in the end, and I'll hopefully catch you for week 10, the second week of the speed section, next time. Thanks a lot, guys. See you then.